Good morning and welcome to the show. This is In Touch, and I am Beth, Christy, your hostess. In Touch is our weekly half-hour public affairs show. If you miss any of the program this week or you want to hear programs from previous weeks, whichever radio station you're listening to this morning, just go to their website and you can, in the search, put In Touch, and it will give you a link to all of the previous interviews as well as this one. So let me turn on the microphone. They're back, which is a beautiful thing, and we are talking Kaatsbaan International Dance Center. So Phil Tarango is here, Vice Chairman of the Board of Trustees for Kaatsbaan. So Phil, thank you very, very much.
Thank you for having me.
For being here. Bentley Rotan is here. He is the co-founder and El Presidente, as he said, of Kaatsbaan International Dance Center. And so Bentley is here as well. So Bentley, thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having us back.
I love having you guys here. I have to tell you, is this your third time? Phil, is this the third time?
It is.
Of coming?
It is.
I have to tell you, because I've said this before, every time I do a show, I always learn something. But I have learned and more of all the stuff that you guys have going on. I love hearing how Kaatsbaan was founded, what it does, what folks can come and see, the caliber of dancing that happens there. I mean, it's just amazing. So Bentley, we're going to start with you. I will say first off, this is pre-recorded. Okay, just so folks know that this is pre-recorded. As I mentioned, it'll be on the website, and we'll have links to websites, Facebook pages. I'll list phone numbers. We'll have all of that because you guys have a lot of very cool things coming up, something very exciting.
We do.
But always before we turn the microphone on, we figure out what's the first question and who's going to take it. So Bentley is going to take it, and we talk about Kaatsbaan just to kind of bring everybody up to speed. And as you mentioned, you think the best place would be, what does that mean? What does the word mean? The meaning of the word. So Bentley, you're on.
Okay. Thank you so much. Kaatsbaan is a Dutch word. It goes back to the 15th century as it's a game, a surface for dance, for sports. It actually started with tennis.
Really?
15th century, a tennis court was a Kaatsbaan. So Bahn is like the Autobahn, the big highway.
Yep.
Bahn is a surface. So that's how.
Cool.
So Kaatsbaan, and Kaats in Dutch means to bounce. Perfect for dancers.
Right.
We do a lot of, I used to do a lot of bouncing all over the place. But meanwhile, Kaatsbaan in our case is a Dutch word, and it means a playing field.
I love that. I never knew that.
Yeah, and it's for one of our co-founders, Martien van Hamel, came up with the word Kaatsbaan because she's Dutch, and she right away we were looking at a site that's in Ulster County called Kaatsbaan, and it's an old Dutch hamlet.
Right.
That goes back to the 18th century. So that's how.
That's
and when
cool.
she saw that, she said, "Oh, playing field. That's what it means in Dutch." Because I didn't know.
No, I didn't know either. Yeah. I had no idea the origin of the word, but it makes perfect sense.
It gets mispronounced, but it's Kaatsbaan.
Kaatsbaan.
Yeah.
Yes, I may have been one of the ones that mispronounced it. We should just go on the record stating that, and that may happen in this show again. I'll try not to. The day I'm having, you guys are just going to do the show on your own. You don't really need me. Trust me.
Oh,
we need you.
I need you.
Only kidding. That's a great. I love that because I remember from some of the other shows that we did, and one in particular, remember we really went deep into the history of it and the fact that there really is very little space in New York City for companies to be able to rehearse before they hit a big stage.
Oh, yeah.
Or to even see if they're ever going to hit a big stage or hit any place. Yeah. There's that amazes me.
It is, and real estate is the issue also because the dance world cannot afford to buy properties in New York City or wherever it is the center of dance. The this became, a few years ago, about 25, 30 years ago, this was becoming a big problem. Companies were having to fold. There was just no place.
Wow.
Going way, way back to the early 50s when I first came to New York, I rented a space in Carnegie Hall that was half the size of this room. And I had to do something in there with several other people that took an entire stage. So the thing about dance that makes it kind of special, it requires space as well as money.
Yeah.
So this idea
I can't even imagine that.
This idea, it was because this way the dance world would finally kind of own something of a park. And we do think of Kaatsbaan as right now as the Hudson Valley dance park. And it certainly is, actually, because we're right on the river in wonderful Tivoli, New York.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great spot.
And
beautiful, too.
And of course, after so many years, I mean, that problem was happening then. It certainly has not gotten any better. And Kaatsbaan has a reputation of this is a beautiful space.
We're known all over the world now very quickly. I mean, when the company came from the Ifman Ballet from St. Petersburg, Russia, came to do their, almost every 2 years they tried to come to the United States. Well, when they came, they had 65 people in the company. Where do they put 65 people?
Not in a room half this size. I'm going to tell you that right now. Not even in the whole room of this. Wow.
So in trying to be ready for that, what we did was, because most all of us worked at the Metropolitan Opera House, so we built a studio that is the basic size of the basic working dance space of the Metropolitan Opera House. And so they had that, and when they heard about that, they went nuts and came right up to Kaatsbaan.
Well, sure.
Were there 3 weeks, and created 2 big hits at Kaatsbaan. We previewed it at Kaatsbaan, but they premiered it at the New York City Center, which is a nice big stage, not as big as the Metropolitan Opera stage.
But they couldn't have done that.
They couldn't have done it.
Had it
and
not
they
been
said that to
for
the
the
New York
Kaatsbaan.
Times at the time.
Now
Said,
that's brilliant.
They did. We needed that spot in the New York Times.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, several others have said that too, but they in particular needed that space. And they keep wanting to come back. So we hope someday they'll come back.
Now, this is embarrassing to admit, but here it is. Only once in my life was I asked to dance on stage. There's a reason why it was only once. There is. But I did. It was Brigadoon. It was in college. Had to dance.
Oh, that's a wonderful show.
It was a beautiful show, and I loved it. But just in my rudimentary... Trust me when I say that. Dancing skills, as you are describing it to me, there was counting, like you would do how many steps this way and then
and so many counts.
And if I had to in my head go, okay, right now I'm only physically doing 3, but know that I'm going to have to do 10 to get over to that part of the stage where I need to be, I would have lost my mind. Now,
That's right.
I am not in any way, shape, or form comparing myself to these world-class dancers who I'm sure have much better skills than me.
Well,
but that just kind of freaks me.
Years of training.
But that just
privileged to have.
No. And there's a reason why my parents, my middle name means Grace, which I think was a misnomer, but that's a whole nother point. That's just a whole nother point. But I just remember being in that production and just really wanting to get it right and really wanting to practice it. And that was just for college. And that was, it was very important to us at the time that if you're going to put your mind and your spirit on something, that you really practice it and you rehearse it. And I'm grateful that we had this space. So to me, in my own little comparison, I can't imagine how these dance companies can feel that there is a place where they can play, where they can try it out, where they can see if it's going to work, see if it doesn't work, or maybe say, wow, I didn't think we could, but now we can.
Well, the nice thing, too, that works for us so well is we do have an audience here that has a certain amount of savvy about dance. They're not so far away from New York City or whatever, and they're not so far away from the Capital District. So this really is a cultural passageway, this whole Hudson Valley thing, all the way up to Saratoga. I've forgotten, does the river go up to Saratoga?
We can get there.
Yeah, we can get there.
We can get there, no problem.
Have to carry the canoe a couple of.
That's right. There might be some portage, but I think we're fine.
Right.
Yes.
But that's so much a part of it. There is a resource here that is very untapped.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not the only arts people, or even the only professional people, because I've been in it for 60-something, almost 70 years, dancing, Yeah. And I started young.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And I'm much older now. No. But anyway. I met a gymnast the other day, and he said, "Oh, you must have been an acrobat or a gymnast." Of course, he moves pianos now. And he came to put to work at to move the piano around in the studio, and he was leaping all over the place. And I said, "Hey, where'd you get that?"
Because he had the space.
He was a gymnast.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's not doing it anymore.
And Kaatsbaan means bouncing space, right? So why would you not do that? If you understand the word, moving a piano or not, it doesn't matter. You have the space to move. So when you talked about the fact of 25, 30 years ago, and the last time you guys were on the program as Phil, and Phil's been awfully quiet. We should people will think we just made him up, that he's not really in the room. Phil is in the room. Yes. Trust me, he's in the room. We talked about the fact that there would be a really big gala to celebrate 25 years. And we are almost there, which I can't believe. I mean, it's October. This year just went by in a blink. So, Phil, you need to come in and talk so people actually believe that you're in the
room. No problem. I am here. Our gala is coming up quickly, as Beth just said. It's the 15th of November, and we've got a really star-studded cast of dancers and some folks that are even outside the dance world. It's an event that we think is pretty much unparalleled in this area, and we've got to pick up on Bentley's playing field comment, we'll be giving some awards, and they'll be called our Playing Field Awards to several special people in the dance world. And we've got principal dancers from ABT, ex-principal dancers from ABT. We've got ballet next coming up on the 18th, and the principal dancer for that and the choreographer is Michelle Wiles.
Okay.
And she's going to be one of the key performers in our gala. So again, awesome event. It's limited to 150 people, but those 150 people are going to have probably one of the most fantastic evenings they've ever had in their lives.
Well, and if you think about building on what Bentley had mentioned, if you talk about the fact that you guys are known worldwide, that there are companies that come here that have been able to create pieces that have gone on to world stages. To me, I think it would be a great honor to come back and to be at the gala. You would have so many companies that know of your space that would come there. I mean, like you said, Phil, this is not an everyday opportunity in one evening to be able to see the variety, the skills, the genre of dance, if I may, the different types. I mean, this is going to be some night.
It's a lot of. It definitely is a wide range dance, from classic to contemporary and all of those. Just like to tack on what Phil was saying there about this thing. Many of these people come there for a 3-week period, and they accomplish in 3 weeks what would take 5, 6, 7 weeks in the city. And that means renting a studio. Okay, we'll rent an hour down a Canal Street and a loft down a Canal Street. Oh my gosh, we only have an hour. They get on the subway, they go up to the Bronx, or they go out to Brooklyn now. And you don't get much done with all that confusion.
Yeah, because you only have an hour, hour and a half, and this is solid work.
They can come in there and work 24 hours if they want to, and some do.
Wow.
They get an idea. And they'll stop and eat. Dancers eat. This used to be a horse farm.
Yeah.
But at any rate, it's amazing what is accomplished by having a time that is efficient. They stay there. They live there. They have a very comfortable motel type accommodation. There are even 2 sinks.
It's very classy.
It's classy, yeah, but in a beautiful setting, and they look out over beautiful fields because it's 153 acres.
Wow.
And part of it goes right down to the river.
Wow.
11 acres of it is on the
I would think people
riverfront.
would get inspiration just from
We've had choreographers come and just walked around the property, came back, and in a couple hours, they basically outlined a whole new dance.
I would think, because it would just be for some folks, it would be a very different view than maybe what they're used to, and just to.
It's very pastoral there.
Yes. Yeah, it's almost like
field
things slow down a
so
little bit.
beautiful.
Yes, beautiful.
Well, Jackie Buglisi, who's mentioned a little later, she came there and she just said it was a beautiful day, and she took her group of the women dancers out, and they walked over into the fields, and they went back into the studio and were inspired by the women of the Hudson Valley, and the piece was called "The Women."
Oh, cool.
Thing in it. It is a beautiful piece, and that is one of her classics now that she does all over the world.
That's
and
it's
kind of a great thing, Again, it's encapsulated all right there, but then they just take it out, and now that's one of her pieces, and that was about 7 or 8, maybe 10 years ago.
And so now on the 15th, a lot of these folks are coming back.
She's coming back because she's one of the awards actually, but.
Which is beautiful.
Jacqueline Buglisi, she was a former Graham dancer.
Oh, okay.
For one of Martha's favorites, and her company has been very successful. You see the essence of Martha Graham with her, but she's come into her own. She has a very beautiful mind, and she's a beautiful woman.
Very cool.
But when it's just all such a beautiful thing that she creates. So she's one of the many. So they're all beautiful.
Yeah, so let's talk. So let me just give you guys, we have about 10 minutes left, believe it or not. I know that's shocking. So with 10 minutes left, let's talk about, with the gala, who's going to be there, and make sure that you guys get out the names so people know.
Yeah, I may have to read some of these off. There's some of these people I haven't even met because they're new to this country.
Wow.
One is Hiseo. He's from South Korea, and he is now principal dancer at American Ballet Theater. He's coming along with James Whiteside, who is also a principal dancer, and they're all doing all of these different things. Hiseo is a wonderful dancer. James White. These people are just in. Sarah Lane was the dancer who did for Natalie Portman in the movie.
In the
She
Black
did
Swan.
the dancing.
She did the dancing.
Yeah. So all of those who think it was Natalie Portman, it was
It was Sarah.
Sarah Lane. One of the up and rising young stars is Joseph Gorak. He's been on the cover of a lot of magazines lately. He is a pristine technician, and we're thrilled that he's going to be dancing. Stella Abrera, who is is a Philippine dancer, and she's beautiful and exquisite, and you will see her books of her in all the bookstores.
Okay, cool.
She's great. These are so many. Michelle Wiles.
I'm looking at this list going, whew.
Yeah, it's hard to rattle these off so quick. But Michelle Wiles was a major star with American Ballet Theater. She had danced up here in a couple of other galas, and it was a sensation. But so she's coming back because now she has her own company now called Ballet Next.
That's her company. Okay, got it.
Her company.
Got it. The wires are connecting in my brain. Okay, got it.
And she's just
I got it.
doing wonderful things with it. The works are coming. One of the works that Wendy Whalen, who is one of the major dance stars of New York City Ballet, and she'll be dancing. Oh my gosh! Now I've got to try to catch who she's dancing with. James Angle. Wendy Whalen is going to be doing a Christopher Whalen piece. He is one of the outstanding choreographers in the dance world. He's done many great works for New York City Ballet. So we're thrilled. This particular piece they're doing is extremely aesthetically beautiful. Miki O'Hara and Maurizio Nardi is going to be doing a piece that Martha Graham choreographed for Rudolf Nureyev that's rarely seen since Rudolf died.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a kind of a very reintroduction of that piece that people will be thrilled with. Then there's Jean Bragiani, the Isadora Duncan mistress of the world, and then there is Jodie Sperling, which will be doing the Loie Fuller stuff, was known at the turn of the century as the lady with 100 yards of silk. And she did beautiful on it. She was a sensation in 1900. And today, you can't believe how beautiful it is. So that's a knockout. Oh, my gosh, I hope I can mention all these. Now, one of the great privileges is Anna Bergman, who is a wonderful, sort of operatic, and then she does the American Songbook.
Oh, cool.
And so in the program, she's going to sing, in a classical sense, Viennese waltzes. But at the dinner afterwards, during dessert, when there's not a lot of noise, she's going to be doing the American Songbook. And we're staggeringly excited about the company she's bringing. His name is, oh my gosh. Up here. His name, I should know it by heart. I do know it by heart, but Lee Musiker.
Okay.
He is Tony Bennett's longtime accompanist and works with major things, but he's been with Tony Bennett for 30 years or something. So he's going to be accompanying Anna Bergman. Anna Bergman is singing tonight in London.
Wow.
So
what a life.
I'm
going to be at the grocery store tonight, but she's singing in London tonight.
Yeah, and she's beautiful. She's going to be a knockout in this evening, and so it's going to be something wonderful. Oh my gosh. The other thing, and these awards are going to be given to Jacqueline Buglisi, Buglisi Dance Theater, Zvi Gottheimer, Zvi Dance, and Dances Petrelli is going to be the other choreographer honored by that award that Phil mentioned. And we're very, very proud of them. Livia Vanderveer, who is a local person, the Vanderveer Caravan, is going to participate in this program as well. And she, again, is a world traveler with her work.
Now, the one thing I like is as I'm looking at this is just so folks get a feel of what the night will be. You will start with a gala champagne reception, just so folks can kind of see at 5:30.
We got to give them something for
That's
money.
right. Listen, this sounds really
the show
great.
is a knockout.
But I love the way this is broken up, which is why I just think this is cool. 5:30 p.m. You start with the gala champagne reception with Baroque dancer Thomas. Is it Baird?
Thomas Baird.
Thomas Baird. Then at 6 o'clock is the gala performance, which is of those names that you were mentioning.
World-class Baroque
which
dancer.
is just amazing.
Yeah.
7:45, then there's a dinner, which I didn't realize until I'm looking at this. I'm thinking, okay, well, there's a reception and there's the performance. No, there's also a dinner. Because when you said dessert, I went, there's dessert. I'm like, wait a second. And I had to look at this. And I went, when does the dessert come in if there's a reception? So then you have the gala dinner. Then the dessert, as you mentioned, with the cabaret performance featuring Anna Bergman with Lee Musiker, which is the American Songbook, as you mentioned.
Yep. And many
and
others.
as Phil said, there's only 150 seats available.
That's correct.
And that's important to
Actually,
people.
It's 158.
But we're not telling that to anybody. But, I mean, this to me, as you said, Bentley, at the beginning, there are educated audiences here in the Hudson Valley who know this. There may be some folks this morning, like not all of these names are household names to me. I know the American Ballet Theater. I certainly am aware of that. And the New York City Ballet, Martha Graham, yes, I know. Isadora Duncan, yes. But when you get into choreographers, am I going to know those? No. But here's what I do know. You guys know what you're doing. Kaatsbaan has an amazing history and a reputation for bringing artists there to allow them to really reach their full creativity. I mean, and to maybe even go further than what they thought maybe they could do, because you have the freedom and you have the space and you have the time. And when you put all of those together,
they amaze us all the time, but they amaze themselves.
Yeah.
It gives them a chance to really they don't have to walk out at the end of the hour.
Yes. And so you really can get into something. So how can folks get their tickets? What do they need to do to get their tickets for the gala? Let's give everybody info that they need.
Well, the simple answer is to call Kaatsbaan
Okay.
at 845-757-5106. Extension 2 is our box office, or Extension 10 is Prudence Garcia Renart, and she can help.
She can hook you up.
Hooked up.
She can hook you up.
And she's a sweetheart, too.
Okay. All right. Because I'm looking, we have about 2 minutes left. So I want to make sure that we get all that information out. And you guys have a website.
www.kaatsbaan.org.
Yep. So we'll have a link to that.
You've done it before?
Yep, and we'll do it again. This just, I mean, what an amazing night. And, as I mentioned that, someone like myself who some of these names are not specific, but if you love, to me, the beauty and artistry of dance and what seems so effortless, but that has come after so many hours and really often lifetimes of dedication.
Definitely.
I mean, you look at that and you have an appreciation. And to me, I'm thinking if anyone is listening and maybe you have a son or daughter or maybe a granddaughter or grandson or someone who loves dance, to me, what an opportunity to bring them to this show, to see what is possible and what you can do in one place.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I just think this is an opportunity that you just can't bypass. Now, what is the ticket? The ticket costs, it is $200 a person.
Right.
Okay. And there's a silent action raffle, but look at all that you get. I mean, my goodness gracious, if you were to go to the city and see one performance
And have dinner.
by the time you paid tolls, parking, tickets.
Right. We don't charge for parking.
That's right. So you look, but what, I always like to break it down. This is an amazing.
You go to the Met and it's $35, $40 to
Right.
park. 38 something.
Yeah. So this to me is you don't have to go far.
And it's an awesome value.
And it's going to be a beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful night. All right. So gentlemen, we have a minute left.
Oh my gosh.
I need to ask for closing comments. I knew this was going to happen. We should just make the show an hour. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah,
Only
I'd
when
go
you
with
guys are
that.
here, though. Phil, some closing comments, final thoughts you'd like to leave with folks.
Well, we've got the gala. We spent most of our time talking about that.
Yeah.
But coming up on the 18th, Saturday evening, you can see Michelle Wiles with her company Ballet Next.
Okay.
And that has 3 new choreographic works in it, and
All
they
right.
are going to be wonderful.
We'll
And
do
they
a
were
link to
all
that.
created at Kaatsbaan.
Okay. On 1018, we'll do a link to that. And Bentley, some closing comments.
Well, I love it. Well, I'd just like to say one other element to this. You're talking about the young people.
Mm-hmm.
Every summer we have a 9-week summer intensive. And this is the only time we really have major teaching. We have a small thing for very young children because the parents there ask for it.
Right.
But in this case, this is a 9-week thing. And these kids started coming there in 2000. They range from all over the country, Canada, South America, everywhere. We even had one kid from Iran about 4 years ago. I don't know how she got here, but she was gorgeous and a great young
Wow.
ballerina.
Wow.
And the quick thing about that is these kids that came in 1920 are now coming back as professional dancers.
That's great.
And that thrills us to death.
Yeah,
We did something for them.
Yes.
And I love it.
And it
And
continues.
they're gorgeous. You
And
watch
that's-
them blossom.
That's a beautiful thing. So the phone number to call to get information about the gala, to find out any other tickets, including the October 18th performance, is 845-757-5106. Extension 2 is the box office, but you can also do extension 10.
That's right. You've
And
got it.
Prudence will hook you up. And just know that if you go to the website of whatever station you're listening to today, you can find this entire show. Bentley,
Part of it's tax deductible.
very important.
Very.
Keep that in mind, guys.
Most of it is.
Bentley and Phil, thank you guys so very, very much for being here
Thank
today.
you.
You'll be back again, right?
We hope to.
See, I always do that when the
As long
mic
as
is
you
on,
want
so
us
that
to
way
come.
you can't
I
say
have no
no.
problem talking once you wind me up.
All right, guys, thank you. And thanks to all of you for being here with us. If you have any questions about the show today, anything that you heard, please call me 845-471-1500. My extension is 159. You can find me on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Pinterest. I think there's more things I'm on. Too much, just way too much. But you can find me. Take care of yourself and those you love. And we'll see you right here next week.